Good morning, students. The last class we have seen different types of speeds. So there are five kinds of speeds are there: speed, uniform speed, non-uniform speed or variable speed, and average speed and instantaneous speed. So if you learn these five speeds clearly, then five more things will become very easy for us. So you see, my dear students, if you know speed definition, you will get velocity definition. If you get uniform speed definition, you will get uniform velocity definition easily. Here in the velocity we just have displacement, in the speed we have the distance. Okay students, and after that non-uniform velocity, non-uniform speed or variable speed, non-uniform velocity or variable velocity, average speed, average velocity, and instantaneous speed and instantaneous velocity. Means if you learn one thing perfectly, other you will get very easily by replacing a small word. So today we can discuss different cases of average speed. Average speed cases we can learn today. Okay students, see my dear students, we know the formula for average speed. If a particle is in motion, that may be in uniform motion or non-uniform motion, average speed of the particle is defined as the total distance travelled by total time taken. This is the average speed formula we have. So now we can see different cases when the object is moving with a different speeds. So now see first case, my dear students. So first case, if d1, d2, d3 and so on dn or the distances travelled. So d1, d2, d3 and so on dn or distances travelled. Distances travelled in T1, T2, T3 and so on Tn times respectively. So respectively, an object is in motion and it is covering d1, d2, d3 so on dn distances travelled in t1, t2, t3 and tn times respectively. Then average speed of the particle, so V average is equal to, so what's the formula, my dear students? Total distance by total time taken. So average speed, I am denoting V suffix average like this. Total distance means, so what will you write students? D1 plus D2 plus D3 plus so on, what will you write? Dn by total time. Total time, what will you write students? T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus so on Tn. This is the average speed formula if you know different distances and in different intervals of time. So d1, d2, d3, dn are the distances. T1 in the T1, T2, etc. Tn or the respective times taken by the particle to cover distances. Then average speed formula we got like this. Okay students, Now the second one is, So second one is, for example, they have given different distances for us. D1 distance, D2 distance, D3 distance, Dn distance. Like you have some n number of distances in n intervals of time, different intervals of time, T1, T2, T3. Then write all the times in the denominator and the total distance traveled in the numerator. Take the ratio, that is called average speed. Okay students. Now second one we can see students. So case 2. So in this one, so you can see the second one. What is that? D1, D2, D3, etc. Dn are the distances traveled. Okay. With so different distances I have given for you. Distances traveled with V1, V2, V3, so on Vn, successive speeds. With successive speeds. So different distances are traveled. So D1, D2, D3, etc. Dn are the distances traveled with the, what is that? Successive speeds we have, children. With V1, V2, V3, etc. Vn are the successive speeds. Then what do we are writing? Average speed is equal to. So in that situation we are writing the formula for average speed is equal to total distance by total time taken. So but we have only speeds, so means we should convert the time into speed. Okay, now see students, we know that speed is equal to speed is equal to distance by time. So that implies time is equal to, time is equal to S by V. So we will get T is equal to S by V. If it is T1, you will get S1 by V1. So T1 is the time taken to travel a distance. Some D1 distance you take it, students. So you take D1 distance. So T1 is the time taken to travel D1 distance. So we know simple formula. So speed equal to distance by time we have. So distance I can denote letter S or D. So D by T I am writing. Okay, T1 is equal to D by V1. Similarly, time T2 is equal to what to write? D2 by V2. Okay, so we can write like this. So here I have only distances. I have distances D1, D2, D3, etc. Dn are the distances traveled in V1, V2, V3, etc. Vn successive speeds. It means that first D1 distance in V1, D2 in V2, D3 in V3. Okay, then instead of T1 I can write like this. Then our average speed formula will change like this. See students, average speed, if you have so then D1 plus D2, so plus D3 plus so on Dn by, okay, T1 means we will write D1 by V1. So we will write D1 by V1 plus T2 means we will write D2 by, so we will write D2 by V2 plus T3 means D3 by so D3 by V3 plus so on. Tn means Dn by so Vn. So this is the average speed formula. So this is the average speed formula. If we know different distances and different speeds, we know different distances with different speeds maintaining, then this is the formula we should use. What is that, my dear students? See, so D1 plus D2 like this you have. So time is written in terms of d1 and v1. So next one. So far we got two formulas, you see students. So far we got two formulas. What are those? This is the first formula. Whenever you know different distances and times, this is the formula. This is the first formula. And whenever you have different distances and with different speeds, this is the formula we have. So now we can go for fourth formula. The fourth one you see students. Sorry, the third formula we are going to see now. Okay, so this is the first formula and this is the second formula. So now third formula we are discussing. What is that? See students. Okay, if V1, V2, V3, so on Vn be the what is that? Successive speeds so V1, V2, V3, so on Vn be the successive speeds in the T1, comma T2, T3, so on Tn successive time intervals. In successive time intervals. So then average speed formula. What is the average speed formula we want to see? So let V1, V2, V3, etc. Vn be the successive speeds of an object. So successive means one after the other. The immediate one V1, next speed is V2, next speed is V3, and immediate one. So these are the successive speeds in T1, T2, T3, etc. Tn successive time intervals. Then the average speed formula we want to write it. Okay, students. So whenever we want the average speed formula, so what is that? Average speed is equal to, so average speed, so V average is equal to total distance. So means, so what you write? D1 plus D2 plus D3 and so on plus Dn. So total distance by total time taken. So T1 plus T2 plus T3 and so on Tn. So this is our basic formula for distances. That is average speed. Okay. Now see students, but we have only V1 and T1, and we know that. So we know that speed formula we know. What is that? Speed is equal to, okay, we have the formula distance by time. Distance speed with the letter D and time with the letter T. Then distance D is equal to V into T. So speed V is equal to speed distance by time. So distance is equal to speed into time if you do the cross multiplication. Okay. If you want to get D1 distance, so D1 means, how will you get students? D1 is equal to V1 into T1. So V1 into T1. Similarly, so what you write? D2 distance is equal to, so what you write? V2 into, so T2 you will write. So like this we have. So we have the formula. Then how does this formula changes, you see students? How does the formula changes, you see students? Average speed, V average equal to, okay, average speed, V average equal to total distance by total time taken you are writing. Total distance by total time taken. D1 means you can write V1 into T1. V1 into T1 plus D2 means you can write V2 into T2. So I am writing, so this formula and this formula is same. Then third formula I am writing here. You see students, so instead of D1 I can write, so distance is equal to, distance D1 is equal to V1 into T1 we have, and similarly distance D2 is equal to V2 into T2 we have. Okay students, then D1, so what will write? V average. So V average equal to D1 means what will write students? V1 into T1. So plus distance D2 means V2 into T2 plus so on. Dn means what will write? So Vn into Tn. Okay, distance equal to speed into time now. Okay, by what will write? Total time taken T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus so on. What will write students? Tn. So this is the average speed formula in different cases. Okay children. So now we can go for different cases. Okay students, see here. So what do we have? You see students, so average speed is equal to, so average speed, whenever you know distances and times, this is the formula we should use. D1 T1. So different distances are given, different times are given, direct formula you use it. So total distance D1 plus D2 plus D3, total distance by total time. Different distances are given and different speeds are given. Different distances in successive speeds. Okay, only distance and speeds are known. Then this D1 can be written as D1 by V1, T2 can be written as D2 by V2, T3 can be written as D3 by V3. Then this is the formula. So what is the formula you see students? D1 plus D2 plus D3 plus so on Dn by D1 V1 plus D2 V2, like this you got the formula. Okay, and if different speeds and times are given, distances are not given, particular speeds it is maintaining in some intervals of time, then the formula is, what is that? So distances are not known, but speeds are known, times are known. So speed and time, then V1 T1 plus V2 T2 plus so on Vn Tn by T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus so on Tn. This is the formula can be used. See, this is the average speed formula only in terms of distances and times. So see, only distances and times, and this is the average speed formula we have. So only in terms of distances and speeds we have. So here only the variables are only distances and speeds. Then use this formula, and this is the average speed formula with different speeds and different times. Okay, see, only we have V1, V2, Vn, T1, T2, Tn only. So different speeds and times are known. This is the formula should be used, and different distances and speeds are known. This is the formula should be used. See students, only different distances are there and different speeds are there. No time is there. We eliminated the time. Instead of T1, D1 by V1. Instead of T2, D2 by V2. Means there is no time term. We eliminated the time here. Okay, got it students? And here see, in the same average speed formula, so we don't have the distances. Distance means D1 is equal to, we have written V1 into T1. So V1 into T1 plus distance D2 means you have written V2 into T2. Okay, so D2 is equal to V2 into D2 means V2 into T2. Similarly D3, V3 into T3. dn. So dn means what will you write, students? Vn, okay, into tn you have. Okay, Vn into tn. So this is about so different. Now we can see the cases in that. Okay, we can. Okay, students. Now we can see cases in average speed. Different cases in average speed. Okay, see students. Case 1. Equal distances with different speeds. It is covering same distances with successive different speeds. So first distance d1, second distance d2, which are equal, and d2 is equal to d3. So d1, d2, d3, so on is equal to dn. All the distances are same. Let it be d. So it is covering equal distances with different speeds. What are the speeds? v1, v2, v3, so on. What are those, my dear students? Vn. So then what is average speed in this case? I want to know. So then we have the formula for average speed with different distances and speeds. So different distances and different speeds. This is the formula. So we have only distances and speeds. Here all distances are same. So what can I write, students? d1 means d. So plus d2 means d, plus d3 means d, plus dn means d. How many terms we have? N terms we have. So then V average. So what is that? V average equal to, so n into d. So n into d by, so what do we have, students? See students, what I am writing here. So d1 is d, plus d2 also d, plus d3 also d, like dn is d. So like you have n terms, we have n terms. So by, so d1 means d, by d1 means d, v1 means v, v1 means v1 only, different with different speeds. So plus d2 means d, so d2 means d by v2, plus so on dn, that is also d by speed is vn. Okay students, this is the, now d we have n times. So we have n times we have, so n into d. I'll write here n into d by, so n into d by, here I'll take d common. If you take d common, what is left? 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2. D is take it common, 1 by v is left. Again take d common, 1 by v2 left. Again take, so d3 common, okay, like take d common, so in the last term 1 by vn is left. Okay students, so this is called V average. Okay, so now we have taken d common. So then this d gets cancelled. So the average speed formula we will get like this, see students. So then the average speed formula will be like this. So that is V average is equal to, what is the formula then? V average is equal to, so all distances are same, d1 plus d2 plus d3 plus dn, like n terms we have n. So we have n by this d and d gets cancelled. What is left in the denominator? 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2 plus 1 by v3 plus so on 1 by vn. Okay students, now so this is the formula, I got it. So then I will do one thing, see students, this V average, for this V average, so denominator nothing is there, 1 is there. So V average equal to, average speed is equal to, so n by how many number of speeds you have? So those in the denominator 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2. Then just do, so send this n to down or do cross multiplication. So I am writing like this, see. So V average by this n I am taking down, denominator I took it. So V average by n is equal to 1 by, so 1, this n comes here, nothing is there, 1 is there, and here what do we have? 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2 plus so on 1 by vn. This is the formula we have. So then take the reciprocal of the given equation. Take the reciprocal of the given equation, then we will get like this, see, n by, so V average. So n by V average equal to, so reciprocal of this means this entire fraction goes to numerator. So that is 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2 plus so on 1 by, so vn, denominator is 1, I need not to write it. So means if an object covers equal distances with different speeds, then the formula is n by average speed equal to number of equal distances. How many number of equal distances you have, you take that. N by V average is equal to 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2 plus so on plus 1 by Vn. This is the formula we have. Okay, now we have only two speeds. So again in this one, another important point. So in this one again, very important point, students, remember it, very important. Okay, equal distances only it is covering, equal distances with two different speeds, equal distances. So equal distances only covering, equal distances, so with two different speeds, equal distances with two different speeds, it is covering equal distances with two different speeds. See students, this is a point, let it be A, this is another point, let it be B, and this is another point, let it be C. Okay students, so A to B distance is D and maintaining speed is V1, and B to C, so B to C distance is D, speed is V2. So we are going from town A to town B and town B to town C. So equal distances, first D distance maintaining speed V1, next D distance maintaining, next same distance only maintaining different speed V2. Then what is the average speed we will ask you. So in this situation we want the average speed. So equal distances, remember students, equal distances with different speeds, So equal distances, we have n equal distances with different speeds. We have the formula n by V average is equal to 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2. We have the formula. So here n value is equal to how many number of equal distances you have? 1 and 2. So that's why n value is equal to 2 by V average. So 2 by V average is equal to, what will you get students? 1 by V1 plus 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2. This is the formula we will get. So if we have only, so what is that? Two equal distances. So this is the formula. This can be written as 2 by 2 by V average into 2 by V average into 2 by V average is equal to 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2. I'm taking LCM. So LCM is V1 V2. So V1 V2, here V1 is there, V2 is left, plus this V1 V2 cancelled by, here you have V2. So with this V2, V1 times it gets cancelled. So you will get V1. Okay students. So then 2 by V average is equal to V2 plus what is the formula we have? So V1 by V1 V2. Now take the reciprocal. So V average is equal to V average. Take the reciprocal of this. V average by 2 is equal to, what do we have students? Reciprocal of this one. So V1 V2 by V1 plus V2. V1 plus V2. So this is the formula. So this both all are same only. So this formula, this formula, and this formula are same only. So I just took LCM. LCM for these two is V1 and V2s. Okay, with V1 it will be cancelled V2 times. That V2 into 1 you got V2, and this V2 this will be cancelled by V1 times. V1 into 1 you got V1. Okay students, then reciprocal of this I have taken. Then reciprocal of this also we have to take. So then do cross multiplication. You send this 2 here. We have this 2 here now. Send this 2 here. So then we will get average speed formula is. So then we will get average speed formula is average speed. What is that? V average is equal to 2V1 V2 by 2V1 V2 by V1 plus V2. This is the formula we have when equal distances it is covering with different speeds, 2 distances only. So for example, see town A to town B, a car from A to B. So that is A to B equal distance, same distance with the speed V1, and let the speed is, so equal distances, A to B distance is same as that of B to C distance. A to B distance with 40 km/h speed, 40 km per hour, and B to C with the 60 km/h. So while maintaining this speed, distance is same D only. While maintaining this speed also, distance is same D only. But speeds are different. V1, V2s are different speeds. But A to B distance is exactly same as that of B to C distance. Distances are same, speeds are different. Then average speed formula we have 2 into V1 V2 by V1 plus V2. Then how much you will get? We check it students. And see, we should not say that 40 plus 60 means we should not take 40 plus 60 by 2 is not the average speed in this situation. It will be wrong. So what is average speed means? 2 into, this is our formula now students. Any formula you can use, this or this or this, all are same only. We just did steps one by one and we made like this. Okay, now see students, average speed formula 2 into V1 is 40 km per hour plus V2 is 60 km per hour by V1 plus V2, 40 plus 60, you will have 100. So you will have 100, then we will get average speed. So 2 V1 V2 by V1 plus V2 our formula 2 into V1 is 40, V2 is 60, 2 into 40 into 60 by 100, 0 zeros gets cancelled, here 2 zeros, here 2 zeros gets cancelled. So 2 4s are 8, 8 into 6, 48. So denominator 1 we need not to write. So 48 km/h. So average speed will become 48 km/h if equal distances it is covering. Otherwise the same question will be given like this also. See, a boy started at home. A boy or someone is started at home to some, what is that, school. He maintained some speed V1. and school to home he maintained a speed v2. See students, so a boy started at home, went to school, reached the school, okay, so with a speed v1, and in the return journey with a speed v2. So here distances are same, home to school and school to home distances are same. So this v1 is given some value, this v2 is some given value. Asking average speed, then use this formula only. 2 v1 v2 by v1 plus v2 is our formula, because equal distances with different speeds he is covering. Like otherwise, for example, see, so home to school going with the speed of some 8 kmph, and school to home going with the speed of some 10 kmph. Asking average speed, use the same formula only, same formula. Then 2 into v1 is 8, v2 is just do the calculation for this. 2 into v1 is 8, so and v2 is 10 by 10 plus 8, you will get 18. Okay students, then it will be cancelled with 9, so you will get 80 by 9 kmph. So 80 by 9 kmph is the average speed. That is the situation. Means A to B distance, B to C distances are same, or you can cover like this also. See students, whenever we have distances and speeds, this is the formula we have. So only two distances we have. So first distance d1 is d, second distance d2 also d. Only two distances I have. Only two distances I have. d1 plus d1 plus d2 by, so d1 is d by v1 plus d2 also d by v2. So here what should we write students? We have to write average speed. So this is d1 plus d2, d1 is d, d2 also d, d1 by v1, d2 by v2. Then d plus d, in the numerator how much we have? D plus d, we have 2d by, so d take it common, d take it common, what is left students? 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2 is left. So this dd gets cancelled, so take LCM, you will get 2 v1 v2 by v1 plus v2. That is the average speed formula I have used. Okay students, 2 v1 v2 by v1 plus v2 is the formula I have used. Okay, and similarly, so and I covered two examples also for you. And similarly, and next one, similarly, three equal distances are there. Three, what is that? Equal distances. Three equal distances are there. Three equal distances are there. Three equal distances are there. Then d1 is d, d2 is d, d3 also d. So d plus d plus d, you have 3d. 3 into d by, what do we have, see students? First distance d1, that is d by v1, plus second distance d2, that is also d by v2, plus third distance, that is also d by v3. Okay students, and we have here v average. Now take d common here. So 3 into d, so what will you get students? 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2 plus 1 by v3, and here you have v average. So now d you have taken common, d take it common, 1 by left, send this 3 to denominator. Okay students, or what is left you see here students? 3 by, so 3 by, what is left? 3 by 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2 plus 1 by v3 is left. Take LCM, so that is the Okay, that is the remaining portion. Then take a LCM. Okay, then what will happen, you see students? V average is equal to, so in the numerator we have 3 by take LCM V1, V2, V3. So V1, V2, V3 is the LCM. So what do we have here? V1. With this V1, it gets cancelled by V2, V3, plus with V2, V1, V3 times it gets cancelled. V1, V3 into 1. So write it V1 into V3, plus with V3 it gets cancelled. So V1, V2. Then reciprocal of this. So how will you get, students? 3 into V1 into V2 into V3. Okay, so it will become reciprocal now. 3 V1 V2 V3 by, so V1 V2, so V1 V2 plus V2 V3 plus V3 1 2 2 3 3 1. Okay, so this is called average speed. This is called average speed. So means you can write this formula, you can write directly, or you can use directly. This is also. If we have only two speeds, 2 V1 V2 by V1 plus V2 we have in the denominator. If we have a 3 speeds, 3 V1 V2 V3 by V1 into V2 plus V2 into V3 plus V3 into Vn. Okay students, and if you have n equal speeds, see students, n equal distances are there. N equal distances, already I have given a formula. So then V average is equal to D plus D plus D plus D, and n times we have n into D by, what do we have? Already derived. So D take it common, 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2 plus so on 1 by Vn, and you have D common. This D and D gets cancelled, and send that n denominator. So then V average by n. So if you have n equal distances, V average by n is equal to 1 by, what do we have here? 1 by V1 plus 1 by V2 plus so on 1 by Vn. From this only we derived the two cases. Okay, this is the formula for equal, what is that? Distances. And now we can see another case, equal time intervals. So equal time intervals. If we have case 2, equal time intervals. Equal times with different speeds. Times are equal, speeds are different. Equal times and what is that? Different speeds. Different speeds. Then how our average speed changes, you see students? Times we have, times and speeds. Then this is the formula. So what is the formula, you know students? So V average equal to, so what is that? V average is equal to, okay, with times and speeds, this is the formula. What is that? V1 into T1 plus V2 into T2 plus so on plus Vn into Tn by so time T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus so on plus Tn. So this is the formula we have. Okay, now see my dear students, So equal times are equal. All times are same. So T1 is T, T2 is T, T3 is T, Tn is also T. Okay students? Okay, T1 plus T2, T3 and Tn, all times are same. Equal times, first time T1. So T1 is equal to, T2 is equal to, T1 is equal to, T2 is equal to, T3 is equal to, so on Tn. But all time intervals are same, that is same only. So equal times, different speeds. What are the speeds? V1, V2, V3, so on Vn. So first T1 time V1 speed, T2 time V2 speed, T3 time V3 speed. But what is given students, times are equal, all time intervals are same. V1 speed, V2 speed, V3 speed, all speeds are maintaining in the same time interval only. Then our formula V1 T1, V2 T2. So this is the formula will change like this. Now here you take V1 into T1, V2 into T2 plus Vn into Tn. Tn is T, T2 also T. So then, so with the formula we know, you see students. So what is the formula? V1 into T1 plus V2 into T2 plus so on plus Vn into Tn by what do we have in the denominator? T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus so on Tn. So then what happens, you see students? So all times are same. All times are same. So I am taking times common. All times are same. If I take time common, V1 is left plus V2 plus V3 plus so on Vn by, so T1 is T, T2 is T, T3 is T, Tn also T. But you have how many terms? You have n terms. You have n terms. Then you can write. So what can you write students? N into T. So if you write n into T, what will you get here? V average. And all times are same. Take time is common here. Time gets cancelled. So then you will get, what will you get? V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus so on Vn by n is equal to V average. V average. Okay, equal times and different speeds. So sum of all the speeds by number of the speeds you are writing. So then how many number of speeds you have, you see? If you have n number of speeds, then sum of all the speeds V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus Vn by number of speeds. Sum of the speeds by number of the speeds means simply you are getting average. So when time intervals are equal, average speed formula becomes sum of all the speeds. Sum of the speeds you are getting, sum of the speeds you are taking by, what are you taking? By number of speeds you are taking. Sum of the speeds by number of the speeds. So this is also called average of all the speeds. It is also called average of all the speeds you are writing. That is called V average. So V average is equal to sum of the speeds by number of speeds you have written. That is called average speeds also. You can call as average speeds. You can call them as average speeds also. Okay students, you are calling average speeds. Okay, now see what is our formula we have, you see students. What is our formula we have when the time intervals when the time intervals are equal, the average formula is V average is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 plus so on Vn. So plus so on Vn by what will you write? By number of speeds you are writing. If we have two speeds, if two speeds are there, two speeds in equal time only, case only equal time, two speeds are there, then average speed V average equal to, V1 plus V2 by 2 only. Simply it will become average. So if only two speeds are there, if three speeds are there, similarly three speeds are there, three speeds in equal intervals of time, in equal time intervals, three speeds are there in equal time intervals, then V average is equal to, what can you write? V1 plus V2 plus V3 by 3 you can write. If n are there, this is the formula. But times must be same time you are traveling with different speeds. These are the different cases we have. Okay students, for example, suppose see, for this problem I am giving, so an object is moving from A to B and B to C. An object is moving from A to B and B to C. Time intervals are same time interval, and A to B with a speed of 10 km/h and B to C with a speed of 25 km/h, and time intervals are same. A to B it is traveled 1 hour, and B to C, A to B first 1 hour maintaining speed is 10 km/h. B to C next 1 hour, again 1 hour only, again 1 hour maintaining speed is 20 km/h. Same time intervals, different speeds, then average speed formula is 2 V1 V2 by, so that is a V1 plus V2 by 2. So if two speeds, then V1 plus V2 by 2. So V1 is 10 plus V2 is 25. Okay, otherwise you take this is 15. The first interval of time you take 15. 1 hour 15. First 1 hour we maintain this speed. Next 1 hour we maintain that speed. Then 15 plus 25 by 2. So 15 plus 25, 40. 40 by 2, it will become 20 km/h. So the answer is 20 km/h. Okay students, so like this you try all the exercise problems. All problems are very easy. Next class I'll teach the problems. Before I teach the exercise, you keep solving, try yourself, think, try, let's struggle your mind. Later you can get it very easily. Thank you to all.